When you work on local software that works with files, you will eventually face the problem of file convergence. Imagine two people on two separate devices using your local budgeting app. They can open the same file and work on it simultaneously through a cloud drive service or some other file syncing mechanism. If your app is built for a model where one user and one app instance works on a file, you would probably at first load the entire file contents in memory, make changes, and when the user saves, just overwrite the whole file. With multiple users editing the same file simultaneously, this obviously doesn't work. They would overwrite each other's changes constantly, as the changes they make are not loaded in memory on the other person's device. The naive solution that comes to mind immediately to solve this problem is to load the file on disk right before you make the change and attempt to do a three-way merge with code and logic in your app, comparing the file on disk, the snapshot you have of the file in memory, and the file you originally loaded. The problem is, while that theoretically might be possible, if your data has even the slightest bit of hierarchy and complexity, edge cases start to pile up, complexity grows immensely, and you will need to write a lot of logic. At first, I did try to implement this in my local budgeting app, but I quickly realized this is the wrong approach, leads to complexity and a ton of bugs which I could never possibly address. If you research how this problem is usually solved in the software industry, you will find the term conflict-free replicated data type, CRDT. This is a relatively broad term for a family of data types that can be used to solve this problem efficiently and reliably. The idea is to structure the data in a way that, first, any replica can be modified without coordinating or communicating with any other replica. And two, when any two replicas have received the same updates, they reach the same state, deterministically, and by adopting mathematically sound rules to guarantee state convergence. This is very formal as a definition, but the idea is simple: to have a data structure which allows you to have replicas of a file on many edge PCs where your software runs, essentially, your local app. And then being able to take any two copies made at any point in time and being able to merge them to one file reliably and deterministically. CRDTs are not specific, and there is no one canonical CRDT implementation you can read about, implement, and solve that problem in your app. They're more of a broad category of approaches and data models you can use to structure the data and then merge it. My application is about personal finance and budgets. I have a budget file which includes categories, and they on their own have transactions. But before we talk about the data model and how I merge changes, we need to tackle a very important prerequisite: tracking time. My CRDT implementation will be a last rider wins implementation. And as the last word implies, we need a timeline to determine what is the last change on a specific field to keep it. And that's not so easy, because we can't just track the physical clock on a device. Our devices are distributed. Their clocks might not be coordinated. In fact, it's almost certain they're not coordinated. Also, what happens if one device makes two simultaneous changes in the exact same millisecond, and our physical clock is in milliseconds? It doesn't track a more precise time than that. There will always be some precision boundary. There is a solution to that. There's an entire family of clocks that can be used to solve this problem, and what I use is a hybrid logical clock. A hybrid logical clock contains the physical time plus a logical counter, a simple counter. And that helps us in a lot of ways. First of all, we can have multiple events happening in the exact same millisecond, or whatever our physical clock precision is. This allows us to order items which otherwise have the same physical time. Another benefit to us is to order items chronologically if clocks are off. Here's an example how an HOC helps in that case. Imagine two devices. Device A and device B. Device A has correct clock. Let's say it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Device B has a physical clock that is 10 minutes ahead for whatever reason. If device B makes a change and device A attempts to sync that change, device A will detect that B's clock is not the same as its own, because it is ahead and the change that happened on device B, which device A is trying to sync, was in the past. We know that because we're trying to sync it retrospectively. Now, as device A wants to make a change at this moment, and it knows that device B's change was in the past, it can just add to its new change the timestamp of device B, which is currently in the future, and increment the logical clock by 1. This way the physical time on both devices might be wrong, but what we ensure is right is the order of operations. But there's still another case we have to handle. There's a scenario in which both the physical clock of a change and the logical counter of the change are exactly the same. And we cannot determine which change happened later in that case. We don't have that information. But we need to merge deterministically, meaning both devices have to merge the changes somehow so that the resulting file is the same. So in that case, when we have a tie, we need a tiebreaker. In a frequent implementation, and what I use is to add device ID to my hybrid logical clock. And if everything else is equal, both physical and logical counter, I just compare the device ID, which is a unique ID, the string, and deterministically produce a winner based on that ID. This is arbitrary but deterministic. Now that we have a deterministic timestamp we can add, let's talk about the data. My application is a budgeting app. Each file is a separate budget, and it contains categories, which on their own contain transactions. And this is how I store my CRDT changes in a struct, which contains a hash map of categories and a hash map of transactions. My CRDT changes structure, which eventually gets saved in the budget file as a JSON representation, contains a hash map of categories and transactions. There we have a map where for each category and its unique ID, we have another map inside of it of changes. And these changes are per field. My CRDT structure stores only the last change for each field. This is done to limit the file size. If I store all possible changes, the file size will grow and all of the changes will be included there. As I do a last writer wins, that's not necessary, essentially. I only need the last change that is currently applied on a field and its timestamp to know if that is before or after the change I'm trying to merge with. Now let's see an example of how I merge changes. If you have a transaction with a title and amount, device A can update its title field and amount field and record two changes in the CRDT changes map. In this case, device A changes the title to dinner at restaurant and the amount to 55. Device B on its own can work on the same file and change the amount on the same transaction only a few seconds later. When both devices sync through a cloud service, both apps need to merge the other person's changes. We have the CRDT map, and that's easy. Notice that the cloud service doesn't need to resolve conflicts here. It can be any dump file store. You don't need to implement a server or a centralized system or maintain it, because the software on the edges can compute the differences and merge files independently. This is the beauty of this system. Now, deletes are a special case in my application. I have a delete always wins rule. This is because I do not want transactions to resurrect. If a user deletes a category and another user updates it seconds later, I don't want the user with the update of the title to resurrect a transaction, for example. So delete is stronger than any other change, so I need to only store tombstones of deleted items. And I do so for categories and transactions into separate hash maps, which contain the unique ID of the transaction or category that is deleted and the timestamp when that happened. These collections of transactional data and operations can grow, in terms of size. And this type of CRDT works that way. It sacrifices a little bit of file size for the ability to merge easily and deterministically later. An app like mine, which stores budgets, an average file size for a very large budget is something like 40 kilobytes. Even if you keep a file for years and track some non-monthly, some very long-term budget in it, and constantly do operations, you would find it hard to reach a megabyte. I just want to mention something if it's not obvious. CRDTs do not magically help you determine which change is correct. We cannot know if the amount 55 or 58 in the example field update was correct. We can determine which was later in a timeline and apply that change according to some rules we made up. There's no way to determine what is correct without providing more information or asking the user to manually resolve a conflict. If you're on your way to implement CRDTs, these are 2 research papers I can recommend that are short but detailed and practical. Logical physical clocks and consistent snapshots in globally distributed databases at cscbuffalo.edu, and conflict-free replicated data types on overview at archive.org. Both are linked in the description. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care.